Hello everybody, welcome back to the Epic Flight Academy. So we want to continue our discussion of non-precision approaches and talk specifically about the LNAV, LP, and VOR. Boy, are we really glad you are here watching these videos. Absolutely, please hit that subscribe button. But remember, watching these videos alone is not enough for your success in your training for your instrument rating. In addition to these videos, you should be reviewing all of this content one-on-one with your CFII, your instrument flight instructor. And thirdly, you should be in Epic's online instrument rating course studying this content in detail. Well, let's continue on with these non-precision approaches. What is the LNAV approach? LNAV stands for Lateral Navigation, and these approaches retain their 0.3 nautical mile course sensitivity all the way to the threshold of the runway. This results in the LNAV being the most basic and the least capable GPS approach. You can see an example of an LNAV approach here on the graphic. Notice it maintains 0.3 nautical miles all the way to the threshold to runway 34. Now, compare that to the LP approach. The LP approach is just like the LPV approach discussed earlier when we talked about precision approaches, but the LP approach does not have the vertical component. So remember those LPV approaches? They were scaled, or another way to say that is tapered as they came towards the threshold. And you can see on our graphic here that lateral guidance tapers down to 350 feet either side of the center of the threshold. Now, you might be wondering, well, you know, if we have LP capability, that means we have WAS, that means we have LPV capability. Why aren't we just using the vertical guidance as well? Well, you are exactly correct. The LP approach is just like the LPV, and it will have that vertical component potentially available. But the reasoning is that vertical guidance may not give the pilot a suitable descent angle to qualify as a precision or an APV approach, because, you know, maybe we are approaching an airport over mountainous terrain or something like that, where that vertical guide path is being penetrated by obstacles that are too close to the approach path. So even though those capabilities are present, the approach will be written and listed as LP only. Now, the other very common non-precision approach is the VOR approach. Now, if you take a look at our graphic here, we see a full-scale deflection of the green needle. Now remember, on the G1000, that green means that that is a ground-based navigational aid, in this case a VOR, or VOR DME, or VORTAC. And a course deviation of 10 degrees indicates full-scale deflection on this VOR approach. Now, these VOR approaches come generally in two types, and I want you to review this with your CFII. The first type is where the VOR is not on the field. The second type is Well, you guessed it, the VOR is on the field. Now, our first example here from the online course takes a look at the Brunswick VORTAC. How do I know it's a VORTAC? See the 6 sides with the 3 black boxes? So looking at this Brunswick VORTAC, the aircraft is required to fly to that VORTAC and then make a course reversal of some type. And then over the top of this VORTAC, it is at the final approach fix. And you can see that here in the profile view. It shows this Maltese cross and the 2000 underlined. At that point, the aircraft can now descend down to the MDA, or minimum descent altitude. And if you take a look at the minimum section here under the profile view, you see those minimums are 500 feet and 1 mile of visibility. So as we approach the Brunswick Airport, how are we going to determine what the missed approach point is? Now, I want you to take a look at this approach specifically with your flight instructor, but notice on the profile view, it shows SSI 6.3 in a little D-shaped box right at the threshold of that runway. That is 6.3 miles DME from that VORTAC. And that is one way in which missed approach points can be identified on non-precision approaches. Now, here's the second general flavor of VOR approaches. In our example here, we're looking at Melbourne, where the VOR is on the field. Now, I know this is a VOR DME. How do I know that? It's a 6-sided shape with the square box around it. And here, we might be wondering, well, we're going to fly over this VOR. We're going to go outbound, reverse course, and come back in. Where is the final approach fix? And what about the missed approach point? Well, notice on the profile view, there is no Maltese cross. On an approach like this, the final approach fix is not specifically identified, but is considered to be when the aircraft is established inbound. Now, if you take a look at our approach, our inbound course will be 089 degrees. And when we are established and stabilized on that course at the proper altitude, we would consider that our final approach fix, even though it is not legally or specifically identified. So we're proceeding inbound, and at what's my minimum altitude? And there it is, right at the bottom of the chart. You see straight into 9 right, 560 feet. Well, where's the missed approach point? The missed approach point here is the to from flip as the aircraft passes over the top of this Melbourne VOR DME. So folks, that is a review of the LNAV, LP, and VOR non-precision approaches. Join us next time.